Another important role of forests is that they play very critical roles in what we call biogeochemical cycles in the Earth system. We can identify several of these cycles, biogeochemical cycles. Two of the most important are the carbon cycle and the water cycle. If I explain the role of forests in these two cycles in very simple terms, in the carbon cycle, now forests being an ecosystem having a large number of, a high density of large trees and also a high density of smaller plants, herbs, they have a very high leaf area. And all these leaves absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and carry out what we call photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide is converted to basically biomass in plants. So that we talk about this process of carbon sequestration, where part of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is stored as biomass in the forests, and the carbon sequestration capacity is highest in tropical rainforests. It is out of the ecosystems in the world, it is one of the ecosystems which has the highest carbon sequestration ability, and that this has a direct beneficial impact in terms of global warming, because carbon dioxide is the main gas responsible for global warming, and human activities release large quantities of carbon dioxide when we use petroleum products for factories, for vehicles. So part of that carbon dioxide is sequestered back once again in the forest biomass. So that plays a very critical role in the carbon cycle, and it reduces the global warming potential. If I elaborate very briefly the role of forests in the water cycle. Now, in the water cycle, the forests, again, their leaves, now they have root systems which can absorb water from the soil, and their leaves transpire. The water is transferred once again back to the atmosphere through the leaves, the foliage canopies, the large leaf area of a forest, and that water that is released into the atmosphere forms the clouds that will bring us rain. So once again, the forests play a very important role in ensuring that the earth has an adequate precipitation rainfall. And actual studies have shown that if the Amazon forest in the South America is removed, that will have a significant impact on the precipitation of the entire earth. The same role is played by other forests in other parts of the world as well. And a third beneficial impact, again related to the water cycle in a forest, is that the forests have what we call the sponge effect. Sponge effect means when the rain comes, the forest canopy, the leaves, the branches, the trunks, they intercept the rainfall, reduces its velocity, so the rainfall comes to the ground at a reduced velocity, and that allows that rain to be absorbed into the soil very slowly. So it is absorbed to the soil very slowly, and then it flows inside the soil very slowly into the rivers. Now when we cut a forest and leave a bare land, what happens is the rainfall directly comes onto the soil at a very high velocity, which causes erosion of the soil, and also the capacity of the soil to absorb that is much lower, so that most of the rain flows over land and into the rivers very quickly. Very often they can cause floods, so that the sponge effect is not there. So that you would find that as soon as a rainy season finishes, within a very short period, the rivers and the lakes would dry out. On the other hand, if there is a forest cover and if the sponge effect is there, even long after the rainy season ends, the water will slowly get into the rivers and the water bodies, so we would not experience droughts. So these are some of the very critically important functions of forests. So in view of the alarming rate at which deforestation is taking place, we need to take active steps to increase the forest cover through reforestation.